Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Hi, and welcome to Live, Love, Thrive, Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by 360karma.com. We hope you're joining the conversation on Facebook and also, of course, following us on Twitter and Instagram at My360Karma. As you know, we always have on incredible guests, and today we have on an extraordinary actress. She's also a philanthropist, I'll say that 3 times, and a writer, and just a wonderful human being. Please give a warm welcome to actress Eva La Rue. Hi, Eva. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
Good. So I know most people know you from All My Children and now CSI series.
Right.
And I think that what I like to do most is like tell people, you know, what your journey was to get here, because a lot of people, they love your work, they see you, they know you're successful, and they want to know, you know, how did she do it?
Yeah.
You know, and I know you have like a really kind of a tough childhood upbringing story that we talked about, that your parents divorced when you were 7.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people relate to that because it's very common in our world, you know, to come from a divorced family. So, but at 7 years old, let's start with that. How did that feel? Or did you really know what was happening?
No, I mean, I think at that age, it's interesting because the research shows that kids of divorced couples that are older have a much tougher time with the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So teenagers and young adults have a much tougher time dealing with their parents getting a divorce than children that are younger, because they don't really, evidently, the way our brains develop are when they're, up until you're 15, your brain thinks very concretely.
Yeah.
And 15 and up, your brain starts to take on conceptual ideas.
Right.
So, and I think it's really...
And then we won't talk about what happens after 50.
Right. Then it's just called blank. It's, remember the old
What
phones?
was your name? No.
The old phones, when you hung up, they'd go click, click, ooh. That's pretty much what's going on in my head all the time now.
Me too.
Yeah, so that's me. But yeah, so it's interesting because I think it's a built-in defense mechanism for our brains as children, because traumas bounce off a lot easier. Because so what happens with a concrete thinking for children is that if it's right in front of them, they'll be sad about it.
Right.
But then they're able to skip off and play.
Right.
Because it's not right in front of their face,
Rebound.
and they don't perseverate on something all day like we do.
Right.
And that's
So,
conceptual thinking.
even in a tougher part of your upbringing, you were sharing about, your mom was a single mom.
Yeah,
she had,
single mom. It was me and my sister. We were on welfare.
Right. I mean, people knowing you
she
as a
worked
successful
3
actress
jobs.
would never know this road. That was not an easy childhood,
No. But it's funny. It's what you know, so you don't think of it as being hard. Again, I think our brains are sort of built to protect us growing up from a lot of things that we don't, know what's going on. And frankly, it just was what it was. So I didn't consider it a deficit or hard or because. But now when I look back on it, I'm like,
Yes.
wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And you know how
course-
she struggled, and you see how hard it
now
was.
being a mom and being
Yeah.
a single mom.
Yes.
And we live with just like that certain amount of fear day to day that you want these things for your kids, and you want to make sure that you provide for them well, and you also want to make sure that they have like a full rounded home life. And that doesn't always happen the way we want it to happen.
But it is true. It sounds like you grew up with a lot of love.
Yes.
And so it is true that kids really don't know any differently if they haven't had anything different.
Right.
And that a rich, full,
Supportive
love
environment
is worth more than money.
And my mom was
Yeah.
like ridiculously supportive of what I wanted to do, and she really nurtured my creativity. And she, we're on dance scholarships. She tried to, get us whatever, free bits that she could, and she scraped together so we could be taking dance lessons and acting lessons and things because she knew that my sister and I, that's where our creative,
outlets were, and that's where your heart was.
Yeah, that's where our hearts were. That's what our passions were, and so she really did her best to support that. And
that is so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, she obviously did something right.
She did a lot right. She did a lot right. Poor moms, they get blamed for everything. And, I guess my kid will be in therapy forever.
But I mean,
too,
look at you now. I mean, so what? So as a kid, you were in theater, and I know you grew up in Long Beach, right?
Well, I was born in Long Beach. Born in Long Beach, grew up in Norco, California.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. In a little town, you were telling me.
In a very suburb, well, not even suburban, more rural.
Country.
Yeah, a rural town.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I just read that they said to baby boomers, where are you going to retire? And it said 40% said in the country. Isn't that surprising?
It's like, but oddly enough, there is no country left in the United States. It's all suburbia. So
and 15% said city. Maybe they don't know the difference between the country and the city. I don't know. But
you got to go far for the country nowadays.
I know. We're talking Lancaster or something. So you love living here in Los Angeles?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like everybody. I don't love the traffic, but you can't beat the weather. You can't. I mean, it's hot right now, and I don't even care. I like it hot.
Yeah. Some like it hot.
Some like it hot. That's me.
So what's it like being on CSI? I know my friend Ann Donahue was one of the most leading edge women in the industry who created, wrote, produced CSI initially. And how awesome that you're on that show, because that is one of the most successful crime series syndications in the world. History, in the world. Yeah.
And it's been off now for a little over 4 years. So we wrapped our last episode of CSI Miami 4.5 years ago. And but we were running for 10 years, which was really amazing.
Wow.
CSI Vegas was on, I think, 14 years.
Oh my gosh.
13 or 14
and there's something else on now, right?
That series, because it was so successful worldwide, globally, that it got dogpiled. So after that, it was, it was CSI Vegas, then CSI Miami, then CSI New York, then NCIS LA, Bones, Mentalist, like they just went, and they dogpiled it. So I don't even know what's left.
Term?
That's the technical term is. So I don't even know what's left now. I'm sure there's NCISs still, and there's I don't know what else.
And NCIS, my friend Scott Williams does. So I mean, I know that whole crime thing is like so popular.
A girlfriend of mine, Daniela Rua is on NCIS LA.
Oh so, and I think they just renewed that, and that's a great series also. But you got your start on All My Children, which a lot of people know you from. Yes, apparently, I'm hearing that as we were posting. You're going to be on the show, and people love you from that. Was that your first big break?
It was. That was my first big break. I worked. I was working pretty steadily up to that, but just like, a guest star on this and a guest star on that. And I was on Santa Barbara, which was another soap opera, for about 6 months before. And, I was doing some hosting in between too. And then I got All My Children and moved to New York for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And met my husband there. He was my love interest on the show.
Oh, my gosh.
Had my daughter.
Wow.
Went through divorce, moved back home.
Okay.
So, but it was amazing. And I started there with Kelly Ripa and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who went on to do Buffy the Vampire Slayer and various other movies and things like that. So we had a really cool alumni from that time.
Was it a fun 10 years?
It was a very fun 10 years, yeah. And I was there off and on, so I died. Like all good soap characters have to die and come back with amnesia, so I did that. And I had like soap disease, because you don't know, like when you have a disease and you don't know what it is that kills you. And then I went down in a fiery plane crash. Somebody stole my baby.
Oh my
twice.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know if I just misplaced it. I mean,
you gotta love the storylines.
You gotta love the storylines. But I have to say, some crazier stuff was happening behind the scenes. Yeah. I mean, for whatever.
Oh, come on now, do tell.
Yeah. Someday when all all the
you're
usual
gonna write that
suspects
book.
are dead. I am going to write the book
that
on
book.
what's really going on behind, because seriously, some of the what's going on in the dressing rooms on soap operas are far crazier than they could ever write. I mean,
they should just
seriously.
turn the camera into the
They
dressing
really
room,
should,
and it would be better.
We weren't altogether sure that they weren't bugging the dressing rooms. 'Cause
Really?
everybody said, it's weird because I just said this the other day in my dressing room, and it's odd that it showed up in a script.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I wonder.
It would have been smart because they didn't have to write anything if they were just they were just paying attention.
It
to what was
wrote
happening
itself,
in
huh?
the makeup room and the little behind the scenes bits and the love interests, the real love interests and the affairs and the way more than they could ever have written. I'm going to write it someday.
Now,
I'm gonna
okay,
be a bestseller.
yeah, you're going to write a book.
Yeah,
a book is coming, folks. What will it be called?
Oh my goodness.
Behind the Curtain.
Behind the curtain, yeah.
Or
all my drama.
Yeah, all my drama. So after this, then you ended up on CSI. I guess there's some other projects there in between, of course. But what was that like? Because CSI, as we were just saying, is such a popular franchise, such a big show. That was a big deal for your career, yes. What was that like? I mean, it must have been like world apart from being on a soap opera.
Totally different. Well, it's a completely different,
format,
different
genre,
format, a completely different kind of work.
Sounds like
soap opera. Yeah, on a soap opera, it's when I left, we were doing parts of 3 shows a day, and sometimes up to 75 pages of dialogue. It was between 50 and 75 pages of dialogue a day.
Yeah. This is why I would never be an actor.
Because when you're doing,
I can't remember a paragraph.
Yeah,
I can't remember a phone number.
I was brain dead by the end of a week. By the end of the week, I couldn't even remember my name. And when you think about, when you're doing a 1-hour show, you have 9 days to shoot 75 pages.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Or 90 pages or whatever it ends up being.
But to
we
do
would
it
do
in
them
a day. Oh my gosh.
So it was
that is
crazy.
insane.
So when we got this, when I started on CSI Miami, it was like, I first of all, I thought it was going to be like, piece of cake. We shoot like 7 pages a day or maybe 9, like big deal. However, it was all scientific stuff. So it's like speaking in Japanese or speaking in another language. It's like all this criminal technology, all of this scientific, technological.
Right, but you pulled it off.
Yeah, sort of, I suppose. Yeah.
Besides those 2 things, what are your what's been your favorite project?
Right now, my favorite project is I just started with an organization called CircleForParents.com.
Yeah.
And I came on as a board member and one of the owners, and it is an online company that provides coaching, one-on-one and group coaching for parents on every possible parenting topic. Because what we're finding is that the statistics really show how alone we feel in parenting, whether you're married or you're not.
Right.
How alone we feel,
and no matter what
issue.
economic status,
no matter
right?
it crosses all economic and socioeconomic barriers, because we feel like I think. And exponentially due to all of our social media, which shows how happy everybody's family is, and the highlights of how amazing, and everybody's smiling, and everybody's great, and they don't have problems with their teenager, and excuse me, their kids, not having night terrors, and so people feel very isolated and very alone, and also trying to put on a good show of how you're also trying to get your kid into a good school. You don't want to look like there's any problems in your house, and everybody's fighting.
There's a lot of pressure.
There's so much anxiety that we're producing for our children now too, because to have them be good athletes and good academically and be ready to go to and have all this philanthropic work on the side, because they'll never get into a college if they don't have 87,000 hours a month of charity work. And I think what we're doing is
too much,
way too much.
Yeah, it's
and
overload
and anxiety.
And did you look at your Twitter? And did you look at your Instagram? And did you look at your Facebook?
Oh my gosh!
And God
did you
forbid
feel
you missed
bad
anything.
About the FOMO, the fear of missing out, with all this stuff. And so, so we're really providing a fantastic service, and especially in the culture of business coaching now. Everybody's got a business coach at all of these big, at the corporate and the executive level. So we're offering parenting coaching.
I love that.
With doctors and therapists and specialists in that specific topic. So it's topic specific. You can go on, type in a topic, and join a group, a parenting group,
Like
or
you
join
could
a one-on-one.
go to it and say, my kid has ADD, or
and
you know,
join a
or
group
whatever.
or a one-on-one session. People are finding that they really like the groups because think of how much we learn from our girlfriends. Mm-hmm. When we go to dinner, we go to lunch with our girlfriends, I get more information from them because we're really research hounds. I am anyway.
Right.
So, whatever your topic is, you've researched it.
Right.
So if I haven't researched, then I know my girlfriend has.
Yes.
And she'll tell me, oh, my kid's got problems with ADD, and she's got the cutting edge doctors she's researched, specialists she's researched. She
Right.
knows what the new cutting edge technology in helping her kid, create new neural pathways around that particular ADD or whatever. And I'm going to get my best information from them. So when we create a group within Circle for Parents, those parents are helping each other, even though they've got a specialist or a doctor as the moderator and the coach. We've got parents that are further along in that journey, parents that are just starting in that journey, and they're all helping each other.
What's that website? Circle of...
It's circle, the number 4, parents.com.
So circle4parents.com.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
glad
from
that you're
there,
doing that.
yeah.
And then, the research also shows that people are actually happier when they have community.
Yes.
So what
It's
you're
everything.
providing is not just, assistance, but literally happiness to have
Right.
that community, because people then, like you said, don't feel isolated and alone.
Yeah, exactly.
So can anyone of any income status come to this? Okay.
Yeah, anybody
Cool.
from any income status. And frankly, therapy is a very expensive venture. Mm-hmm. And especially when you go to a family therapist and then it's just kind of a blanket approach to whatever your specific issue is. Mm-hmm. So at Circle for Parents, it is topic specific. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a specialist in that specific topic. Mm-hmm. And it's coaching and not therapy. So it's solution oriented. It's not...
Yes.
You could go to therapy for 100 zillion years and not really, and chitty chat your brains out and not really find solutions.
Right. So
This
it's
is a
solution-oriented.
solutionary.
I love that.
Yeah, which is really great. You're going to come away with actual tools from every session. And not only that, I feel like you're going to come away with like you said, a community of people who understand. And you can continue that community. And for $45 a session, can you imagine going to a therapist for $45?
Right. Right. That's great.
Mine's a fortune, so.
How did you get involved in this and why? I always think that people's obstacles somehow connect to what they do later in
Yes.
life to give back.
Yeah, I think
And,
so too.
explaining that your background was single mom, welfare, that maybe that's why you've taken on this endeavor to help people in that position. 100%.
Yeah.
I
and
think
not only
so
that,
too.
but going through, I got divorced 5 years ago, and kind of guiding my daughter and I through that process. It was very, it was pretty emotionally debilitating for us, and guiding her through that. It's really fantastic to be part of a company that is providing affordable coaching.
Right.
Because it's just not even a possibility for a lot of single moms because it's just too expensive. We just don't even know where to go.
Right.
Like, we don't even know how to begin.
Right.
Or what do they really need, or what do I really need, or I can just do this alone. And it's very isolating.
So they go to this website and they find their community. Is this located here in LA or?
All over the world.
It's all over the world.
You can literally
Wow.
plug in day or night and find a
that.
coach that is teaching a class a class.
What a great thing to tie into. How'd you get involved in that?
Like I said, it's usually when
It
you're
found you?
hanging out with, it found me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just sort of put out into the universe that I was ready to do something that I was really passionate about and really spoke to my heart, and what I'd been working on for the last 4 years with my daughter. Like, all that work was not, well, of course it wasn't for nothing, because we're a lot spiritually and emotionally more healed and evolved than we would ever have been, and a lot closer than we would ever have been
Yeah.
without that
How
trauma.
beautiful.
So that trauma, divorce is always traumatic, but there's beautiful pieces that come out of it.
Always.
And a lot of amazing gifts for both my daughter and I. And so
Right.
I know it sounds weird to be grateful for, for divorce. It's not that I'm grateful for the divorce.
You're grateful for
the
what happened as a
gifts that
result
came out
of it. Yeah,
really
exactly.
beautiful gifts. And so then from there, I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to do. I read a quote a few weeks ago that parenting without a sense of humor is like being an accountant who can't do math. And it's so true.
That's a great analogy.
I thought, you know what? I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spin off a little YouTube channel, because right now there's all these YouTube channels for parents with little kids and toddlers and babies and stuff.
Right.
But there really isn't anything for somebody parenting teens. And I can say it's funny, but it's not. But it does end up being, because after you're past the whatever it is they're putting you through, that the teens putting you through, it is hysterically funny, and they're gonna be great stories.
I think it's just like
sharing
Colbert right now for me.
Yeah.
You know, with politics, you think, how could you possibly laugh? And somehow he makes me laugh.
Yeah. You have to have a sense of humor.
So have you already launched this, or that's what you're launching?
So this is going to launch the YouTube channel Parent-Teen.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, we're actually editing the first 3 episodes right now, and we're going to be aired by the end of next week, hopefully. Yeah,
I
the first
love
one.
that.
And they're pretty funny. The first few episodes it's going to be a micro series. Like a really micro series, since YouTube things are only like 5 minutes long. Of like the first 3 are going to be on sex, on how to discuss.
Oh my God, this
with
sounds
your kids
fantastic.
And teens.
Oh my God, I wish I had my mother had
They're pretty
that.
funny. They're really funny. Yeah.
Don't you wish your mother had had that one?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I had to guess my way through that one.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Mom.
They didn't want to. They definitely
We were
skirted
pretty
that
hands-off
issue
when we were growing up on every issue, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Figure out the drinking, figure out the drugs,
Right.
figure out the sex.
Yeah. There was no
Come home when you
therapy,
want.
you know.
Yeah.
Thank God we're the therapy generation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're doing that. I know you just did. You did a TED Talk on forgiveness that people should check out.
I did.
What made you do it on forgiveness?
Again, it kind of goes back to this whole journey that my daughter and I have been on over the last 5 years, and the talk is on breakdown to breakthrough, and then the final wrap up of the breakthrough has to be forgiveness, because otherwise, you know, that unforgiveness is really like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It doesn't.
I've heard that. I like
sense.
that. Yep,
Yeah,
it's so true.
And so if we can't,
it
find
doesn't
the
do
place
them
to
any
forgive-
harm. It does you harm.
Right. And forgiving doesn't mean you've said, it's okay what you did to me. It just says, you know what? You were where you were with the tools that you had at the time. I was where I was with the tools that I had at the time. I'm going to take responsibility. It's really about taking personal responsibility. When you're forgiving somebody else, it's about digging super deep and taking all your personal responsibility. Because we can blame forever.
Right. And then doing what you just did and what you said you did was to take what lessons came out of it to make life better. And say, oh my gosh, that something good came out of this.
Something really beautiful came out of it. Yeah. And that's
amazing.
on Baha'i.org.
Okay,
you can see that
great.
talk on Baha'i.org.
Baha'i.org.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
BAHAI.org.
Okay, beautiful. So you just did the TED Talk. Do you have any acting things that you'd like to be doing? Is there some sort of dream projects that you'd like to do?
Well, I just wrapped up a movie with John Voight called Orphan Horse. That's going to be coming out, I think, later this year.
Oh my gosh, how exciting!
Yeah, so that was really
sounds
fun.
interesting.
Yeah, that was really fun. It's like it's a family movie, and it's really sweet. So.
Great. Well, look for that. What channel, or is it coming out on?
It's going to be a feature film release. So we're waiting to
studio.
Yeah, studio release.
Okay, great. Well, that's very exciting.
Well, independent film.
Yeah. Independents are the best.
Yeah.
No offense, studios.
You have a little more leeway with what you want to do.
Loved hearing what you're up to. Loved hearing what's behind the curtain. Looking forward to that book.
Yeah.
Drama Behind the Curtain.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And just keep doing what you're doing. You're such a give back human being, and I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Eva La Rue, and we will be back next week, same time, here on UBN. Make it a great week. Hugs and happiness.